Hello, guys. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Trito. Today we're covering the recent and critical victory against Fiorentina and the matches that come. Stay tuned. Okay, guys, welcome back. So we're going to talk about the recent Fiorentina game and what I thought about it. And honestly, I have a lot of things to think about it. To start, I think it was a very important victory for us to get. I did predict we were to win it, but maybe not as close as it was. However, Fiorentina is having a very good year this year. They're having a very strong year, and they're doing a lot of good things in terms of possession of the ball. They made it tough on us today. They also played very well defensively. I say today, but I'm still thinking as if it was today. However, the game was a couple days ago, and I'm just getting ready for the upcoming games. However, to start basically with the match, we dominated, I thought, in the first half pretty much because I can probably count at least 5 clear-cut opportunities that we didn't score, 5 clear chances that we needed to score and we didn't score. Obviously, we need to be more critical in front of goal because we made it another heart attack style game again, unfortunately, with the last minute goal with Immobile. And obviously, we did get that goal. It was very much necessary because we've been in a very precarious position, not winning at home when both Milan, Napoli, and also Roma dropped points this weekend, or this past weekend. So I have a couple of notes here. But, even though we were wasteful with our chances in front of goal, I have to say I was happy the players kept pressing on. They did their job. They did very well. They kept, moving forward with the game. I didn't know how the game was going to end. I thought it was going to end a tie, honestly, because Fiorentina was frustrating us a lot. However, eventually we did get the chance because the substitutions came on in the form of Ciro Immobile, Pedro, Vecino, Kamada, and also Cataldi. I thought they played a little bit differently than the starting 11 did, but they came on. And Pedro got a ball, he crossed in, Vecino headed it on, and Milenkovic put his hand out and basically deflected off his hand. We got a handball. Immobile takes the penalty kick, which he needed to take, and he scored. And won the game in the last minute again, which seems to be a common theme with this team, but it's better late than never, obviously. And I thought Immobile was critical. Vecino did his part. Pedro was instrumental again in being a late minute player who comes on and just cracks the game open. So I thought that was very good. Again, reviewing some of the players, I thought Guendouzi in the day was probably our best player before the substitutions happened. I thought he was the best player in the field. We could obviously see a drop in level once he came off because the team just wasn't the same once he was substituted off. I thought that we just couldn't maintain that same or similar level. With all that being said, though, I have to say I think that the strongest players, along with Guendouzi, who played very well, were also Patrick and Romagnoli. They played a very solid game in the back. They locked us down defensively. Maybe with the scary mishap with the first goal, which didn't count, obviously, because Beltran handled the ball before he scored. But other than that, I thought they had very solid games, and it's a good sign going forward because when Lazio is successful, we're not conceding a lot of goals, which we have been in the beginning part of this year. However, now that we seem to have a set back line with Lazzari, Marusic, Patrick, Romagnoli, and Provadello in goal, things seem to be a little more cohesive. Again, also, I think the players who didn't play as well today, unfortunately I have to mention Luis Alberto, even though I thought he was still effective, but he did waste 3 free kicks, unfortunately, which he'll even say was kind of not something he should be doing for a player of his level. He'll probably tell you that too. But again, I thought he was still effective. He carried the ball forward. The only thing is sometimes I feel like we're becoming a bit too predictable in a sense with them because everyone kind of expects us to go around. I go around basically creating the plays around him. That's what I'm trying to say. But I thought he had an interesting game that was effective going on with pretty much all the other things were happening. The game was kind of chaotic a little bit at one point. We didn't really get complete control of the game. They had some good plays too. Fiorentina, but we had more of the clear-cut chances, so that's why I think we should have won the game on in terms of who deserved it. But again, it's football, so anything can happen. So what else can I say? I think also the biggest thing that comes out of this game is Immobile's goal. We need him to start scoring. He's still our captain. He's still one of the most important players on our team, even though he's getting older. He's been injured more, but again, he's a goal scorer, and that's what we need in this team to keep carrying forward, keep going forward. And I think going into this next game, which Bologna, which I'm going to go on to right now, I think Lazio needs to play the same back line as they did, when we played on Monday? On Monday, yeah. So we played on Monday, so I think we need to play the same back line. Again, probably keep Rovella in the lineup, Guendouzi in the right lineup. I would try to put Kamada in for Luis Alberto and give him a rest because Luis Alberto's been playing a lot of games. He's going to keep playing a lot of games because still have, Feyenoord and then Roma later on in the next week. So I think we need to give Luis Alberto a bit of a rest. I would like to see Kamada play, but if he doesn't, I would have no problem with him coming off the bench and creating an impact, which he did. He played that beautiful, almost blind pass to Felipe Anderson in a game against Fiorentina. So again, he just keeps showing his flashes of brilliance, and that's why a lot of Lazio fans, including myself, are convinced that this guy, is the future of the midfield eventually. So with that being said, with Guendouzi, it's just hard because when we take him off, we lose a lot of quality because he's a guy who runs, he tackles, he heads the ball, he shoots. He does so much for the team, and he breaks up a lot of plays. He's just a very critical player for us, and we can see why we really need him because once he comes off, the game changes around. It's cohesive in the midfield. So with that being said, I think he has to start the next game. Rovella, again, keeps progressing, keeps impressing me. Just tenacity to go after the ball and to keep fighting and move the ball quickly, which is something we've been lacking for years, honestly, in that position. Even though I think Atali's been very serviceable and has done a very good job being the guy who breaks up the play, which is more of his style. He likes to be more of a guy that's just run the defense, kind of picks passes out, versus Rovella kind of someone goes out and gets the ball and then distributes it really quickly. And also the remaining starting 11, that being the front three. Supposedly we're going to have Felipe Anderson start, and Immobile is going to start again, which I'd be very happy if he does. We kind of need him to start again, obviously, because he needs to go on a bit of a run, catch fire and go on those crazy 9-8 game goal streaks that he has gone in the past. Those similar crazy goal streaks where he's just been unstoppable at points. Don't know if he scored 9 goals in a row. I think he might have, but correct me if I'm wrong. However, we need him to be that same Immobile, that same fearsome striker that we've all known him to be for so many years. Now, I heard Zaccagni is going to sit and rest, at least to start the game, which I think makes sense. We need him again against Roma and against Feyenoord because those games we just have to win. And, he was devastating against Roma last year. Let's not get too far ahead with Zaccagni yet. But, again, I think Pedro's going to start that game. And looking at it, look, Bologna is a tough team to go play against, They're a tough team because they just played in the Coppa Italia. They won. They looked good against Verona. They're a tough team to play at home. They don't concede many goals. So we're going to need to come out flying, And personally, I would like to see Kamada, of course, be introduced, and Pellegrini and Isaacson come into the games. Look here, I'm a little curious as to why Pellegrini hasn't come in. I think he is the future left back of Lazio. He's also good defensively. He's very fast. He's aggressive. It's just a little bit curious as to why he isn't playing, but I'd like to see him get reintroduced back into the team again. Because the derby is coming up, and he is a Roman. He's a Lazio fan, born and bred. So, we need to kind of get him going, too. Isaacson, not sure why he hasn't played as much. A little curious about that, too. Because he isn't as good defensively in contribution as Anderson is, but Anderson needs to rest because you can tell once he goes into his moment where he's, exhausted and tired, he kind of drops off. So I'd like to see, Pellegrini, Kamada, and Isaacson come into the games against Bologna. Now, again, going forward, too, with the other matches that follow the game against Bologna, Feyenoord, Roma, before the international break. So Feyenoord, they're going to be a tough team to play against regardless, but I think we should get the victory at home. We need to get the victory at home. They're going to be tough. Look, you see how they are. They move the ball fast. They're really aggressive. They're really physical. But then again, it's a different atmosphere. And plus, they're not going to have their fans in the stadium in Rome with us. So that will be a factor. And with all the bad blood between the two teams, between Lazio and Feyenoord and all the stuff that's happened in the past year with, unfortunately, the Feyenoord fans deciding to throw urine on Maurizio Sarri. It's been a game that's been long coming. So, Lazio, they're going to be ready. The fans are going to be ready to bring it. I think the players will live up to expectations. I think that game in Feyenoord that we lost in Rotterdam was a bit of a one-off thing. We just had the wrong personnel on the field personally. Now I think we're going to see a very strong result against Feyenoord. And then against Roma, the thing too about Roma, They lost against Inter, but here's the thing. They're a type of team that will get the tie because they're very frustrating to play against, but they're not going to beat you necessarily without motivation. We saw that against Inter. They just didn't have that same striking motivation to go forward. It's Mourinho's side, so we do respect them, obviously, but we should be able to get that win, too. We should win the next 3 games. I really do believe we should. I mean, they're all going to be tough. Let's not kid around. These are going to be like 1-0 victories, 2-1 victories. They're going to be close games. I think we should edge it out, but we had the personnel this year in comparison to the previous years that we didn't have now, or don't have now, or didn't have then that we do have now, excuse me. And I think we should be able to excuse me, I guess the allergy, excuse me, but we should be able to get the victories. And I think personally too, we have to remember that we're doing better in the league, because if you look at everything really closely, there's also one of my important notes. In the Champions League, Feyenoord still has to play against Celtic away. They play against us at home, and they play against Atletico again. Here's the thing. Atletico beat them 3-1 in the Metropolitana. I think they're the kind of team that can go to Rotterdam and beat them. Now, another thing, too. Feyenoord has to beat Celtic in Celtic Park, and that's going to be a hard place to play. We're the only team so far in the group that has won there amongst all the other teams. So, all the other away teams that's won in Celtic Park, it's only Lazio that's won, because even Atletico tied there, guys, and they're the best team in the group probably, and they tied. So Feyenoord's going to have a hard time going into Celtic Park. I think they're going to have a hard time in Rome, and then they play against Atletico on the last day. I mean, we're not on the last day. The second to last day, the second to last game. They got a tough stretch. I have to say, I think we're still in the driver's seat, but they are a direct competition. So look, at this point, we win the next 2 games. We beat Feyenoord, get back even with 6 points, or go ahead of them with 7 points, and then they lose to Celtic when they play them. And we beat Celtic at home, because we have to still play Celtic at home. We'll be in a very good spot. Then if we can just get a tie against Atletico, I think we'll be in a good spot going forward too. And then also with Roma, not just Roma, with all the other teams in the Serie A, we're fortunate now that the last 2 big teams we have to play against are against Roma and against Inter. So these are teams that are going to be tough to play against. Obviously, Roma, I think, will be the easier in theory of the 2 games. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but they should be the easier of the 2 teams. I think we can win the derby, considering where Roma's in right now and how we're kind of going on an upward trend, which I did predict was going to happen, because the team just needed time to settle and formalize and get into a rhythm, and now we're seeing the results of it. They're winning games in the 90th minute, but then again, that's a team that has character, and that's a good sign going forward again in big games. And the thing is, too, because we have those 2, let's say, tougher teams to play against, 2 of the bigger teams to play against, the good news is we only have, let's say, mid-tier and then lower-tier teams to play against in theory, so we should get a lot of points now, and plus the other teams have to play against each other. And actually, guys, if you look at it compared to last year, I was looking at something about, our win-losses and who we lost against. We actually tied against Fiorentina at home last year. So we actually made so far a net gain, because we also lost against Atalanta last year at home. So we also made a net gain there. Yes, I know we lost against Genoa, which represents one of the relegation teams, which I don't think we lost a game to a relegation team last year who was relegated or tied them. So there's a net loss with that in that aspect, but mathematically, we've made an overall 3-point net gain, because Milan, we lost to Milan. Against Juve, we lost in Torino. Lecce, we actually lost in Lecce last year. So, again, actually, we have made a net gain. And I think we'll be able to push on and get to the top 4. Because now Milan's got a lot of injuries right now, unfortunately. You don't wish that upon anybody. We hope they recover and get back on the field soon, because you want to beat the team at their best and really say you merited, a Champions League spot, but also Napoli too. They may hit or miss. However, if the last game's anything to go by, you need to be careful, because it looks like they can fire back into life whenever the heck they want to. So we do need to be careful. So yeah, again, overall, I think we are in a good spot right now in both the Champions League and also in the Serie A. I think we're growing and we're getting better. I do think we're going to finish this year in a good form, obviously, and now it should be exciting too, because with a bunch of our guys who can call up to the national team, and especially for Italy too. There's going to be some of our players going to be called up to the national team in theory, I think, because there's a do-or-die situation, and if Italy doesn't make the Euros now, well, it shows you the state of Italian football at the moment, unfortunately. But, it's Guendouzi and Castellanos. It's funny because Argentinian Castellanos, I know his name is pronounced Castellanos, but in Argentine Spanish, his double L actually means a J. So Tati Castellanos is how his name's pronounced. However, he's been called to the Argentine national team, and Guendouzi's been called to this French national team. So again, things to look out for. Let's hope they don't get too worn out on their international breaks, because we do need them to get more points and to keep progressing in all the competitions. And yeah, right now, I have to be honest with you, I think we're in a good spot. I think that the next couple of games are going to be tough, but I think we should get the victories. So I'll give a review after the game tomorrow on what I thought of what happened. And other than that, see you guys next time. La Curva Nord is out.